Hello, and welcome back to the channel. As you can see here at the start of another Kit Quest career mode, you kind of moved away from FIFA 21 for a second because I guess it seems like there's like an 8 save limit for like career modes. You only have like 8 different career mode saves at once, and need to start actually probably acquiring some of those jerseys so I can like override the saves and stuff. So since I know like I'll know they're done dusted once I have the kit in hand and everything. But since like I've maxed out the saves and like I don't want to like overwrite in the ones that are already there, we're gonna move away from FIFA 21 for a second, and we are moving up a couple of games to, as you can see here, to FC 24, and we're taking a second shot at one that is kind of very, I guess, kind of similar to the Tommy Sal situation, where it was one that like I probably could have continued with originally, but then it kind of ended premature. I guess I'm probably couldn't start to great. The last one, obviously, it's not going to be like that long ago for you people watching if you've watched both, because I think they're only going to come out not that long apart in the grand scheme of things. But for me, like this, the way I record this stuff, it's been a while since I like did that one originally. Like if I look, yeah, either way, it's been a while since like I actually went and like played that originally, like the original attempt of the Leeds career mode. We're basically running it back again now, kind of the Tommy Sala one, new and improved. Me, hopefully a little refreshed, and hopefully it'll go better this time, like it did in Tommy Sal, than did like it will this one. So yeah, Leeds United again, FC 24. So as you can probably guess pretty quickly, the is he listed as our like center mid? He should be a center mid, right? Not a right back. Where is he? There he is. The young lad Archie Gray, who the other scored his first goal for Tottenham in the match against Crystal Palace recently. So that's kind of also why I was like, let's kind of go back and do the Archie Gray one again, because he like just scored for Spurs. So figured that would kind of be the impetus for me to give it another shot, and also just kind of because of the status of how many of these kick quests we've done for a lot of the Spurs players. As you know, I'm trying to get kits for all the players from the Europa League winning squad, and like we have like made pretty decent progress on the TVH. I think like most of the bigger name players, like we have completed a kit quest in some way, shape, or form for us. I think the only ones we're actually missing, we're missing what, one, two, three, four, five, six of like the actual like kind of regular players, regular first team players, and then like a bunch of the bunch of academy lads like Scarlett and Mikey Moore and stuff that like made appearances in the competition, but didn't like are obviously academy players that don't have like a career before Spurs and don't really have much of one during or after in terms of loans and stuff. Like obviously Dane Ross put in a bunch of loans, but none of them were really particularly successful and stuff. So that's kind of they're probably gonna end up being done way down in the future. Except for maybe Brandon Austin, I might somehow figure something out with him because he's a little awkward because he went on like a couple of weird loans like half a decade ago and like made his couple obviously made his couple of appearances in the Europa League, and that's kind of it for Spurs pretty much. So we'll have to figure something out there. But yeah, so we're kind of have most of the players. Archie Gray is one of the 6 players I just mentioned that we like haven't done a successful kit quest for with them at all. So we're gonna give this kind of another shot here with him. So that the kit is as it was the last time. It's not this home kit. It's the really cool like third kit, which was like kind of like pinkish and yellows and like really cool. Like it was like the pants were pink, so it's primarily a pink and yellow kit. And I like it. This looks awesome. IMO, it's a really sick looking one. So as I think the original sketch was, yeah, like he had some of his better appearances in his that season at Leeds in the championship with them. Obviously, he won Young Player of the Season, a bunch of like those kind of awards. So like he pretty much would be like I get the 3 kits, except I guess not the away kit. I know we could say like barely wore it, so that it was cursed or whatever. So the options were basically this home kit, which you can see I'm wearing here, the white one, or the third kit, and I prefer the third kit. It's because Spurs, like if I'm getting like my primarily white kits are pretty much only gonna probably ever be Spurs ones for the most part, unless like that's the only option for a team, depending on like how the player performed to them and stuff. But obviously Spurs are primarily a white kit, so kind of stick with them for those. But yeah, so I don't know what else was there to touch on here. I guess yeah, so it's gray in the third kit, Extra tactics and stuff is the same setup as last time. So the link to the video for that kind of setup will be in the description, but if you kind of want to quickly just look at it here, so it's the 4-2-3-1 wide with like the wing play set up and all these kind of tactical instructions and stuff. And then kind of for the player instructions, very kind of offensive and aggressive focus. So it should be fun to, as it was originally kind of fun to play as. But hopefully this time I don't run into the whole Archie Gray submits a transfer request problem and stuff. But I guess to wrap up quickly, I guess, 'cause I haven't actually looked at it yet myself, because I obviously came in and did the tactics before I kind of recorded the video. I went in and I did the tactics myself. But let's quickly look at. Oh, I see the menus change all the time. So where is this stuff? Here it is. Okay. Let us look at the objectives. So youth development, that ain't happening. Brand exposure, okay. One young player, that's a little vague. I'm guessing it's under, I don't even know what it's going to be. Probably have to look that up on like Reddit or something and figure that out. But I would probably try my best. And then they want us to assign 2 crucial and then 85 mil profit. Alright, so basically that means we should probably have to make 3 signings, unless this like young player I find is like high overall. I guess domestic success. Okay, they want us to reach the FA Cup round of continental. Obviously, there's not going to be anything because we're in championship, FA Cup round of 16, and they want us to win the title in the championship, which is a bit of a bold request. Actually, I don't know. We'll see, because obviously they finished 3rd that year, and then didn't win in the play. They lost to Southampton in the playoff final. But we should hypothetically be like kind of by potentially some of the draws and losses turning into wins, should potentially be able to make like kind of run to the can't like win the EFL Championship title and get promoted. But we will have to see. But I guess kind of let's look at the squad real quick just to check it out. So yeah, so we're gonna have to basically like if it's not gonna be like a young player, they're gonna have to be like a pretty solid one. If they're like our overall is probably gonna be in the 70s for me to like have for them to also be a crucial player. So it should be interesting to figure out who we sign, because it's also going to be, as we're going to be kind of somewhat limited, because obviously Archie Gray's only ever played for Leeds and Spurs, so we're kind of be, I think, relying a lot on the kind of the whole FGO manager international thing. And the one this time, if you probably saw the picture at the front, actually, will it be here? Yeah, that doesn't really help. It's just like my bad attempt at making it look like something. So there we go. Yeah, so it's Charles Henri Sanson. So it's going to be kind of France. It's kind of going to be the international kind of focus here, besides obviously players like the Spurs. So we'll see who we can sign and stuff. But yeah, I guess that's it for this intro section. Kind of ended up being a bit rambly because it's recording this late at night, so I'm kind of tired. My brain's a little fried. But yeah, so a couple seconds would be the 23-24 season recap, or if Archie Gray somehow does the same thing again and puts in a transfer request, it'll be kind of Archie Gray putting in a transfer request. But hopefully that's not what happens. So you have to watch and keep watching and find out. Okay, so here we are at the end of the 23-24 season. So quickly recap how we get promoted and how we did in the couple of cups and all that good stuff. So let's start with the EFL Championship. So as you can see here, we ran away with the EFL Championship. Basically, because obviously Leeds finished 3rd that year with like a really high points total. So then a lot of the like losses and draws turned into wins and draws. So we were almost invincible. Our only loss was in match week 33 away to Sunderland. We lost 3-1, but we were unbeaten the rest of the season. So we absolutely smashed it out. Incredible goals for and goals against. So our high-powered, high pressing system generated a lot of goals for, not that many against. So we'll kind of see how it turns out in the Premier League. Probably not too well, I'm going to suspect, but we'll find out, I suppose, because we're going to be in the Prem next season with, obviously, Leicester City finished 2nd with 98, and we'll kind of get into the playoffs. Who of Coventry, Southampton, Stoke, and Swansea ended up being the 3rd team to join us in the Prem. But yes, we had a pretty solid league season. In terms of the FA Cup, we started out in round 3, I think. Yeah, there we go. So we started in round 3 against Bolton. So they That year, Leeds made it to the fifth round and lost to Chelsea, so I played the third and fourth rounds instead of the fifth round match. So I won 4-0 with goals from Patrick Bamford, one from Jaden Anthony, and one from Nyonto. And Archie Gray was man of the match with a couple of assists in that match. Round 4, got Middlesbrough, and again another 4-0 win with goals from Jaden Anthony, Bamford, Bate, and Nyonto. And Archie Gray was again man of the match with an assist. So doing really well there. And then round 5, we got matched up against Arsenal, and quick simmed it and lost 3-1. Our only goal was from Joe Rodon, but it wasn't enough to stop Arsenal. And then as you can see, the final was a Manchester derby, and Man City won 3-1. Carabao Cup, we started all the way in round 1, so we got Bolton in the first round in both cups. Again, they made it to the round of 16, I think, and lost to someone. Let me go back here. No, that's not true. The second round, they lost on pens in the second round to Salford City. That's right. Yeah, so I played the first round against Bolton, won 5-0. Goals from Bate, Jane Anthony, 2 from Patrick Bamford, and 1 from Wilfried Nyonto. Round 2, so I did kind of draw. I did the slow sim and then hopped into equalize if I needed to, but we didn't end up meaning to. We won 2-1 against Stockport with goals from Gelhart and Pirro. Round 3, we got Brentford at home. Kind of, again, did the last 5 results, chucked in the randomizer, and got play. So I played the match and went down 1-0 early, but was able to rally back and win 3-1 with goals from Somerville, Pirro, and Bamford, with Crescencio Somerville being man of the match. Round 4, we got matched up against Manchester City, and I got quick sim from the randomizer, so I quick sim the match, and we somehow beat them drew 2-2 in the match with goals from Dan James and Jorginho Ruter, and then beat them on pens 4-3 to advance to the quarterfinals. We got matched up against Forest. Again, checked it in the randomizer, got play, and won 4-2 with goals from Somerville, Ruter, Yonto, and Aronson to make it to the semifinals, the Carabao Cup, where we got matched up against Arsenal, who's the last 5 matchups they had all won against Leeds, so I really had basically no chance of really helping out. And so we lost the first leg away at the Emirates 2-4 with goals from Pirro and Ruter, and then drew the second leg at home at Elland Road, but obviously with the 2-0 deficit was enough to send us through, so we lost 4-6 aggregate. And then it was a North London derby, which Arsenal unfortunately won and beat Spurs in the final of the Carabao Cup. Then quickly looking at the Championship playoffs, so we look here at semifinals, Coventry against Swansea. Swansea won on aggregate 4-3, and then Southampton beat Stoke on pens after one more aggregate score, and Swansea beat Southampton. So it'll be Leeds, Leicester, and Swansea back in the Prem for next season. So it should be fun and interesting. I like how Swansea made it, so that was cool. That's pre-season, it doesn't matter. Super Cup, Man City beat Sevilla. Champions League, Man City beat Dortmund. So I'm going to guess Man City won the Premier League, so he's going to won pretty much everything else also. Liverpool beat Atalanta in the Europa League, and then Frankfurt beat our old friends Ferencváros in the Conference League, and then the fake Euros, and then we're back at the spit game again. Yeah, so I'd say pretty solid season from us. Kind of in terms of news and notes from throughout the season was in match week 10 at home against Sheffield Wednesday. Let me see, what's his first name if I don't butcher it. Joe Gelhart, so I was using him as Ruter's backup. Tore his ACL at the home match week 10 against Leeds. It was out for basically the entire rest of the season. I think he came back at the last 2 matches and maybe got some minutes in one of those. But yeah, so he basically missed most of the season with his ACL tear. So I ended up recalling Brendan Aronson from his loan at Union Berlin. And then Dan James is out for a month with a knee sprain after match week 18. And I think that was pretty much it in terms of kind of news and notes. I guess we clinched the title in match week 41, so we had 5 matches to spare or so with a win away at Sheffield Wednesday. And then we lifted the trophy in our next match at home to Queen's Park Rangers. So you'll see the footage there. I think not at the end, but kind of in between this kind of section here and the section for the next season. I'll put the footage in between. Because obviously the championship isn't really obviously isn't the top division. So if we can manage to win something else, that other thing will count as the main trophy. But if we can't, then I will count the championship kind of trophy as the trophy for us to make it a success. But hopefully we can win something else. As you can see, we made a run to the semifinals of the Carabao this year and stuff. So if we make some squad improvements, kind of with our Prem money and stuff, we should hopefully be able to maybe kind of make another surprise run and run the cups. That's it for news and notes there. Oh, they changed the menu over here, so the objectives are over here. So as you can see, despite running away with the championship and making good runs in the cups, my position as manager is weak, very weak, because in terms of transfers, I guess I'll kind of go over that here also now because we literally made one in, one out. One out was Liam Cooper to Norwich for 1.4 mil, and then one in was Joe Rodon from Spurs for 6.2. And that kind of did not help us make any of these objectives. So this first one, we don't have any like youth players, so that's not going to work. And we didn't sign any young players, so I get a big old X for that. And in this one, we had the profit, but we don't have the signing 2 crucial players thing, so that's not going to work for us either. But we did complete our domestic objectives, but I guess the real reason us not completing these other ones, the board is very upset. So we'll see if I get the sack, because that also might be why the championship one might end up being the trophy, because I'm very dangerously close to the sack. So if I don't get sacked now, I have a feeling if we have a bad start to the Prem season, I'll probably get the sack then. But I guess kind of to wrap up the season part, look at the squad home, look at stats, because I said we only had the 2 transfers. So Darlow, he had 10 clean sheets, which was good for 1, 2, 3, tied for 4th in the league. Ilan Meselier, though, won the Gold Glove, whatever you want to call it, the Most Clean Sheets award, with his 13 and 26 matches. 2 fullbacks. There's Joe Rodon with his 1 goal in the FA Cup against Arsenal. Ethan Ampadu. They didn't really have any goal contributions. Their center backs here. Connor Roberts, obviously on loan from Burnley, so he'll be going back to his parent club. Had a decent season as well. Shackleton, good season. Kamara, good season as well. Gruev, solid stuff for him. And here's Archie Gray. So yeah, 6 goals, 14 assists in all comps. His 10 assists in the championship was tied for 2nd with 2 other Leeds players. So who those were, we'll find out in a sec. But yeah, so he had an excellent season, grew a lot in overall. So really positive stuff from Archie. Jane Anthony, so his 10 assists was again one of the other people Archie was tied for 2nd in assists in the championship with. So really good solid season from him on loan, but he'll go back to Burnley at the end of the season. Crescencio Somerville, his goals were not enough, but he was tied for 3rd with a bunch of other players with 8 assists in the championship. So good stuff from him. Bate was good. Ruter, so he had 10-10 in the league. So again, he was the 3rd. Him, Jaden Anthony, Archie Gray were all tied for 2nd with 10 assists. And then his 10 goals were not enough to crack the top 10. So yeah, here's Gelhardt. He obviously did not make a ton of appearances and overall ended up decreasing because he missed 7 months with an ACL injury. Brendan Aronson, as I said, ended up having to recall him from his loan. He ended up smashing it out. 7 goals, 12 assists in the league. His 12 assists in 25 matches was 1st and tied with someone else from our team for 1st in the championship. Dan James, good stuff from him. Yonto, 21 goals, was 4th in the league. So good stuff from him. Then our strikers, Patrick Bamford, 16 goals, was 9th in the league. And then Joel Piro, so he was the other guy on the other one, tied with Brendan Aronson with 12 assists. And then he was 3rd in the gold boot rate with 23. The golden boot went to Patson Daka of Leicester with 28 goals in 43 matches. But overall, pretty solid season from us. So as you see, our squad was pretty bloated, so that's why we didn't really make any ingoings or outgoings. Pretty much. So yeah. So I guess we'll see. So we're going to advance here quickly and see if I get the sack or not for not completing the other objectives. So I know if this is kind of it for us or not. There's Holland. Junior Firpo. Let's reject that offer for now. So I'll have to look at that for next season. Just because I don't know if he's kind of fits our requirements and stuff, so keep advancing. Players on international duty doesn't really matter too much. Free Yontos, whatever. Players returning from loan and going back from their loans. So I gotta, good God, it takes forever because I gotta load all of them in. Oh my goodness. There we go. Alright, so let's go into the emails here. So Jaden Anthony and Connor Roberts both went back to their parents' club, so we cross them out on my spreadsheet here. Connor Roberts is here. Like so. Okay, so they're done. So then, yeah, all of our other guys are coming back on loan from their loans, so I'll have to deal with them next season if there is a next season. And we got a bunch of the Wales guys, and then Somerville at the Euros. So we just had a couple loans, selling Cooper, and then a bunch of other loans. I won Champ Manager of the Month for September. And all right, let's see how bad it's going to be. If am I going to get the sack here and the season? Okay, yeah. So it looks like, yeah. So it won't come as a surprise. We're not entirely satisfied, which I don't quite understand. TVH, we walked to the championship, but especially the on and off the pitch. On the pitch, I completed all our on the pitch objectives. Mostly off the pitch that we didn't really do the objectives they wanted, but I won't argue. So I guess it's going to be very tenuous here, our Leeds career mode here, because as I said, with us in this like really weak position, I have a feeling unless the board goals are easier to complete and I can complete them pretty early on with some summer signings, and or if we get have a hot start, we might be okay. But I think if the objectives are hard to complete, which we'll find out in a second, or we get off to a bad start, I have a feeling I am going to get fired as Leeds manager because we are in a very weak position here. Transfer market info, I don't really care about that. So let's go in quickly and look at our objectives for this upcoming season back in the Prem. So youth development, we're not doing that one. Marketing, all right, so they want 10 home wins. That might be hard against your newly promoted club. And then they said sign one veteran. Again, I'll have to go through the squad and stuff and see if that'll be possible. Financial, again, it's the same objective to crucial plus 85 mil profit. Okay. FA Cup, they want us to, so basically the same objectives from last season, except instead of a young player, they want us to get a veteran player instead, which honestly might be more helpful to us in our efforts to stay alive and not get relegated. The Continental says obviously nothing, so yeah, that's kind of it. So I guess this is it for the 23-24 recap section. So what will be happening in a couple seconds, it'll either be a 24-25 season recap if I don't get sacked, or it will be a mid-season kind of end of the series recap style thing if I do get the sack. So you'll have to keep watching this episode and find out what happens.
They were here for a party, and let the title party begin, Stuart.
Well, they've had to wait, but it's going to be worth it. Just listen to the fans inside this stadium. Great scenes here.
The best team in the league. It was official ahead of this game, but the supporters wanted to be here to drink in the moment.
Yeah, over the course of the season, they've been absolutely superb. Fully deserved the title.
And now for the moment of confirmation, the trophy presentation.
Well, this is what they were dreaming of before the game. To come and pick this trophy up. What a performance from them.
Yes, a performance that has impressed absolutely everyone. And now it comes down to holding that piece of silverware aloft. The sweet taste of success. It has been quite the journey, and it comes to an end in style, on the big stage.
And now the celebrations can begin. Not just the players, but also the fans, the coaching staff, everybody involved with this club. What a performance it's been. Well, for some of these players, it will be the pinnacle of their careers. They just have to take it all in now and realise what they've achieved here. It doesn't come much better than this, does it? And just look at those fans. They've followed their club everywhere.
Really a match made in heaven between players and fans. And these celebrations are going to continue for quite some time. And this is always part of the fun, Stuart, the photographs.
Well, this photo will be hanging up in the study for years to come, won't it? Just make sure you're in that front row. That would be my advice.
So there we have it, the league champions.
Okay, so here we are at the end of the 24-25 Premier League season. So let's get into it. So as you can see here in our first season back in the Premier League here with Leeds after getting promoted from the Championship last season, we probably surpassed everyone's expectations and pulled a bit of a Sunderland this year and shot up the table. We ended up finishing top 4 this season, which is honestly incredible. Literally in 4th with 70 points, 10 points behind the champions Arsenal, which is an affront to all that is holy, but that's neither here nor there. But as we finished top 4, there's a bit of a race between us, Spurs, and Liverpool, kind of for the last Champions League spot in Europa League, and kind of all in about there. You can see there's 3 points separating us. So at various times throughout the season, especially towards the end, we'd be in 6th, and then we'd win a game and we'd move up, or then we'd lose or draw and move down, and but we ended up finishing 4th, which is a pretty excellent season. But yeah, 20 wins, 10 draws, 8 losses, and I think the best attack in the league, which is honestly incredible. 78 goals for, but then our defense obviously not so hot. It's still pretty decent on the whole, but obviously not the best in the league. I think it's 4th, so that ended up hurting us a little bit. But let's say finishing top 4 in our first season back is pretty solid work. So pretty successful stuff there. Then next up is the FA Cup. So let's go back. We started in round 3. So if you could find us here. There we go. We got Manchester United and we were drawn away to United in our first round of the FA Cup, round 3, and I was like, wow, that's just a real kick in the nuts. Probably one of the hardest draws in here. And I was like, all right, well, this probably means this is the end of our FA Cup run, and we're probably gonna end up have to do a 3rd season here potentially. But obviously for all these matches, every match this year, I chucked in the randomizer stuff, and I got a quick sim for this one. So I was like, well, this is probably it. Chucked out my best lineup, hit quick sim, and looked at the score, and we won away at Old Trafford, 2-1. So I was like, all right, we're still alive in the FA Cup. Let's get it. With goals from what's his first name? Let's find your first name here, my friend. Rasmus Christensen, our right back. And then we're here. And Joel Perreault. So Joel Perreault with the winner. I'm guessing Routier probably had assists on both because he was man of the match. So pretty solid stuff from there. Us there in the FA Cup, advancing to round 4, where our draw started to get a little bit easier. We got matched up against Oxford United, so obviously a much easier draw there than away at Old Trafford. And again, got quick sim, but I was able to rotate for this match because I was like, all right, this is they were I think probably League 1 side at this point, and I was like, okay, let's rotate quick sim, and we should hopefully, especially at Ellen Road, be able to triumph. We did 4-2 with a brace from Dan James and goals from Wilbur and Bamford, and Patrick Bamford was man of the match in that one. So then round 5, aka the round of 16, we got matched up against Bristol Rovers, another favorable draw for us here. So after kind of a tough draw, 2 easier draws here, another home match at Ellen Road against Bristol Rovers, and I got slow sim. So I think they actually took a 1-0 lead, so I had to hop in and I equalized with Patrick Bamford and then slow sim the rest of the way, and it went to extra time, which is a little nerve-wracking, but Joel Perreault managed to score in extra time and give us a 2-1 win over Bristol Rovers. So what you thought would have been an easy draw ended up being pretty difficult for us. It took us 120 minutes to get done, but get it done we did, and moved on to the quarterfinals, where we once again probably got the hardest draw in here. We got drawn thankfully at home though at Ellen Road to Arsenal, and once again I was kind of like, this is probably we're toast here because again Arsenal like Leeds last 5 matches against Arsenal all losses, so I had there's like no way I was gonna have any ounce of control really outside of setting the lineup over the result of the match. So again, chucked out my strongest lineup, hit quick sim. And I was like, fingers crossed, come on, can we do this? And we ended up doing it 3-2. I like jumped for joy when when the result popped up. We won 3-2. Another extra time match, another 120 minutes. Our goals in regular timer from Crescencio Somerville and Brendan Aronson. And then Dan James came on as a sub, I'm guessing. And I think it was the 103rd minute in extra time, he scored the winner for us, and we were able to make it to the semifinals. So I was like, all right. I was like, please don't give us Chelsea. I will take Brighton. I will take Middlesbrough in the semifinals, whoever. So like we can at least have a shot at getting well, it's actually the semifinals are at Wembley, but getting to Wembley for the finals. Like, please, anyone but Chelsea. And we got Brighton at Wembley in the semifinal. Then once again there I got slow sim, and I don't think I had a hop in at all for that one this time. I think we took a 1-0 lead through Dan James, and then they equalized with, I think it was João Pedro, and then we took a 2-1 lead with Joel Perreault knocking another winner in for us there, and boom, so we were headed to Wembley. And then I was like, all right, we won that, and I was like, all right, sweet, we're going to be at Wembley. And I was like, oh, it's probably going to be against Chelsea, and we're probably going to lose. But then Middlesbrough did the Lord's work. They helped us out immensely here and beat Chelsea on pens 4-2 at Wembley to make it a pretty kind of fun, I'd say a pretty fun matchup at Wembley for the FA Cup final, Leeds versus Middlesbrough. That's pretty fun, I'd say. And we got to Wembley, and I think Leeds had an excellent record against Middlesbrough, so I was able to play. This is the only match of the FA Cup run I was able to play, was the final, and we won 2-0 at Wembley against Middlesbrough with goals from Joel Perreault and Archie Gray, and I was able to ball out with Archie Gray. Played a nice through ball around I think it was the 10-minute mark from Gray to Perreault, and he smashed it past their keeper to put us up 1-0. And then I was like, all right, let's see if can I get Archie Gray a goal. And I think it was off a botched clearance from Middlesbrough player. Nyanto played it back down with a header to Shackleton. He passed it, as I would pass it to Archie Gray from him, and then kind of was able to dribble my way a little bit to the top of the box and set myself up for a nice curved finish, bar down from the top corner into the net. And it was a beautiful goal right before halftime to put us up 2-0. Then I was able to just bunker and counter, defend, not have to worry about attacking, so we had a 2-0 lead, and I was able to see out the match for us to win a piece of silverware. This is a successful Kit Quest career mode, so we don't redeem ourselves from our previous failure in Archie Gray putting in a transfer request by winning the FA Cup at Wembley with him scoring and assisting. So he was man of the match, obviously, with a goal and an assist, and it was excellent stuff. You're not going to be able to see the highlights because I guess I forgot, in which was it 23 or 24, they had changed how it works, so you have to actually go down and click on something to see the highlights, but you'll still see the trophy ceremony at the end here of Archie Gray in the sweet pink kit lifting up the FA Cup. So obviously that Premier League finishing top 4 in this piece of silver here were obviously our biggest successes of the season, but we still obviously had the Carabao Cup potentially as another route to silverware. But as you saw there, we obviously didn't win it, but we'll kind of go through our journey in the Carabao as well, just to get all the information out there. So we started off in round 2. If I can find us here, here we go. We got drawn at home to Wigan, and as I would play that match, hat-trick, as I would rotate, and I got a hat-trick with Patrick Bamford and a 4th one from Dan James to send us to round 3. We got we got Spurs at Ellen Road though, and I quick simmed it, and then we won 1-0 with a goal from Ethan Ampadu. I think this was his only goal all season, but it was a crucial one to get us to round 4 of the Carabao, where we got matched up against Leicester City, our fellow promoted club from the Championship. Got quick sim again, and quick sim the match, and Joel Perreault hat-trick was able to dispatch Leeds and send us to the quarterfinals in December, where we got matched up against Chelsea, unfortunately, at Stamford Bridge, and got quick sim the match with our strongest lineup, and we lost 2-0, unfortunately. So that's why I thought because I was obviously in kind of middle end of December. That's especially why when I felt we got drawn to United and Arsenal in FA Cup, those 2 rounds, I was like, this is definitely going to be a third season one, because I thought there was no way we were going to beat them, but we were able to do it. So that was cool. So us losing to Chelsea here in the quarterfinal stage didn't end up being too big of a blow. And then obviously it looks like Newcastle and Everton made it to the final, and Newcastle beat Everton in probably a much more exciting final than ours, 4-2. But excitement doesn't really matter at the end of the day. We got the pieces, we got some silverware, so I'll take it. That's all the competitions we participated in. But how can I guess if you want to look at the European stuff, you can look at that. That's pre-season. That's irrelevant. So the Super Cup, Liverpool beat City 2-1. Champions League, Madrid beat Inter. Europa League, Milan beat Benfica. And then the Conference League was an all-German affair, and Wolfsburg beat Borussia Mönchengladbach 2-1. And I think, yep, that's back around to the Premier League, so that's all that. So I guess the next kind of thing to look at is, except they're on the screen, aren't they? Objectives. Look at the board goals. So as you can see here, obviously at the end of last season, even though we had won the championship at a canter and had made a good run in both cups, we were kind of in a precarious situation with the board. But as you can see here, we're in a much better spot. Especially, I think we got to a really strong start to the season, where we were obviously we won our first 2 matches away at Villa and away at Bournemouth, and then won the Carabao Cup. So that kind of puts us in a good spot, even though I ended up losing match week 3 away at home to Arsenal 2-0. But kind of we had a nice start to the season in the league, so that kind of took the pressure off me a little bit, and we were able to kind of build from there. But let's look at the board objectives again. So youth development did do that one because we had some youth academy players. Brand exposure, 10 wins at home matches this season. We had 14, so a lot of those very important ones. Obviously, a bunch in the cup, especially in the FA Cup. We had home wins against Oxford, Bristol, and Arsenal. So good stuff there. And obviously a bunch of other wins in the league and the Carabao as well. There was as you see, there's one veteran player. Didn't do that one. Again, this is a no incomings transfer window. Had a bunch of outgoings, but no incomings this season, which I guess didn't end up biting us because our squad was kind of good enough to compete in the league and stuff, so it ended up working out for us. Then financial, obviously, so if you go down, so we have a massive profit of 303 mil, but we didn't sign 2 crucial players, so we're not going to get that count as completed, but I'd say we did pretty solid anyways. Domestic success, they wanted us to finish mid-table, and we finished top 4, and they wanted us to reach the round of 16 in the FA Cup, and we ended up winning it, so that's probably why our position with the board is so good, is because we did really well in the league and stuff. And then continental success, obviously we weren't in Europe this season, so nothing to do there. So in terms of transfers, as I said, didn't really have any incomes, but I can kind of quickly show. Oh, it's the wrong thing. It's the transfer hub. We need transfer history. Here we go. We can show our outgoings, so we sort by date. So, Koch here went to Brighton for 16.5. Perkins to Karagumruk. Probably butchered that. I apologize for 1.3. Charlie Cresswell on loan to Fulham for the season. Drama to Bournemouth for 4.25. Boveda to Southampton for a little over 2. Montiero on loan to Levante. Clayson sold him to fellow promoted club Swansea for 1.6. Oh, I forgot to look at the relegation spots. Actually, let me just read them out rather than going back to the screen. So yeah, so top, obviously Arsenal, we saw Arsenal finish first. Top 4 was City, Chelsea, and us. Then Europa League spot was Spurs. And then bottom 3 was Bournemouth, Wolves, and Swansea. And the gap was pretty decent. It was a 7-point gap between Bournemouth in 18th and Brentford in 17th. So 2 of the proto clubs, us as Leeds, and then Leicester, are able to stay up. But Swansea, unfortunately, could not do that, which is probably not that surprising, but they got relegated. But yes, we sold Clayson to Swansea, Gelhardt alone to Brentford, Joseph alone to Mallorca, Junior Firpo sold to Brighton for 5.3, Lewis Bate to Preston for 2, and that was all our outgoings. So then kind of to wrap up here, you can look at player stats. So Carl Darlow had a pretty decent season as our backup. He finished, if I look here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, technically 6th in the Premier League in clean sheets with 6. And Ilan Meslier finished 2nd with 11 behind Aaron Ramsdale at Arsenal, who had 12 clean sheets. So a really good season from our defense there, keeping a lot of clean sheets. And then Sandmeyer, so our defenders had decent seasons, obviously, because we had a lot of clean sheets, had good seasons. So I ended up playing, as you don't have 2 left backs, I ended up playing, as you can see, Pascal Struijk here, can play center back or left back, so I ended up making him our starting left back for the season with Byram as his backup, and then these were our 4 center backs. All had pretty solid seasons. Right back, Luke Ayling played on occasion, mostly some kind of throwaway matches in the league, and then 1 match in the Carabao. But Christensen and Shackleton played most of the season there. Our midfield, pretty solid stuff from all of them here. Archie Gray obviously had a fantastic season. Played 40 matches, 2 goals, 8 assists in all comps. His 7 assists in the Premier League was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th in the Premier League with 7, which is pretty impressive, I would say, for a 19-year-old kind of more defensive midfielder. But he's in the deep-lying playmaker role, so he was able to provide some nice assists for us in the league. And then obviously the FA Cup is goal and assist in the final. Got us our silverware, so excellent season from Archie. Somerville, excellent season from him. His 12 assists were first in the Premier League, so good stuff there. And then St. Greenwood was a pretty solid season. One of his goals was a really nice free kick I took in one of the matches where I rotated him in. He took an excellent free kick. Score Ruter, 10 goals, 6 assists, pretty solid stuff. 10-10 in all comps. Martin Aronson, pretty good stuff for him as well. Dan James and Yonto, a lot more goals than assists, but I can. Not going to complain. Pretty good numbers from them. Patrick Bamford, pretty solid stuff. And then Joel Pirro here, excellent season from him. 23 goals in all comp, 16 in the Premier League, which was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th in the Premier League. Alexander Isak, Newcastle, won the Golden Boot with 25. But yeah, all in all, excellent season from us here, getting after kind of walking the championship, getting promoted to the Premier League, and kind of being solid enough to finish in the top 4 in our first season back and get European football. Really good stuff. Made a decent run in the Carabao, but obviously the most important thing was we won the FA Cup, so this made this a successful Kit Quest career mode. So really excited about that. So this is obviously the end. It's going to be the end of the series episode here. So thank you if you made it all the way to the end here. And I kind of after I stop talking, it'll be the footage of Gray lifting the FA Cup, as I mentioned earlier. And what's upcoming next? It's either likely another jersey quest with obviously another series of goalie jersey quests, or it might be a Mario game, I think, question mark. But either way, hope you enjoyed this and you'll consider checking out whatever is next to the channel, if it is a jersey quest or a Mario game as well. Thank you.
They've done it!
They certainly have, and they deserve to do it as well. They were the better team today. They were absolutely excellent.
And now it's all about enjoying these very special celebratory moments.
Well, just look at the joy on these players' faces. Absolutely incredible.
And now for the moment of confirmation, the trophy presentation.
Well, this is what they were dreaming of before the game. To come and pick this trophy up. What a performance from them.
Yes, a performance that has impressed absolutely everyone. And now it comes down to holding that piece of silverware aloft. The sweet taste of success. It has been quite the journey, and it comes to an end in style on the big stage.
And now the celebrations can begin. Not just the players, but also the fans, the coaching staff, everybody involved with this club. What a performance it's been.
And I'll tell you what, Stuart, it doesn't get any better than being able to savour a triumph like this with your own fans.
And I have to say, these fans have been brilliant as well. They've made so much noise. They've been magnificent.
And now the players get to relax a bit and enjoy having the pictures taken.
Well, these photos will be cherished for years to come, won't they? Certainly ones to show the grandchildren.